It's our favourite time of the week to talk to our favourite person in the world, the one and only and wonderful Megyn Kelly. There is so much happening as always, but I want to go back a couple of days so we can deal with the German politicians who were literally crying after Vice President JD Vance gave them a speech telling them to pick up their game.
Let me conclude, and this becomes difficult.
It's amazing. I wish so much I'd been in the audience as a member of the press where I could have just said, "Excuse me, sir, on behalf of the world, where are your balls?" Just asking, at least for America, but I think my friends in Australia too. Yeah, we're just wondering where they are. It's perfect. It's really actually kind of perfect when you think about what's happened in Germany, which is really one of the main perpetrators of the terrible crackdown on free speech. England has given them a good run for their money. France is not so great either. But I mean, Germany, I think, is the worst. And that's saying something in Europe. Where, yeah, they used to be known as like these hardcore authoritarian people. And now it's, if you insult a politician, you can be arrested. An insult. Forget, quote, hate speech, which, I mean, one of the things I love about America is hate speech is fine. It's totally constitutional. It's legal. You can't arrest somebody for hate speech. You then speak louder and persuade people that that other person is wrong. That's really one of the fundamental bedrocks of our country. But in Germany, you can get arrested not only for so-called hate speech, but for insulting someone. And they justified that in this long 60 minutes piece where they were saying, oh, yeah, I mean, especially on the internet, because that lives forever. Oh, Paul, you mean someone can say something hurtful about you on the internet and people could find it at any point in time, like in the future, when you've moved on past the contract? What? Would you grow a pair? Like, of course they're crying over Elon and his tough talk. Of course, that's what they're doing when they read insults about themselves online. That's what they're doing when they used to read Compact Magazine, which they closed because it was too in support of the party that wants to crack down on the border issue. It's like the kid who covers his ears and he's like, I can't hear it. I can't hear it. And it's like, no, you will hear me. No more ice cream. So the tears are the perfect metaphor for what's happening in that country.
Now, we're both of an era when the Oscars used to mean something because it was sort of one of those big showbiz events. And the Saturday Night Live 50-year reunion was sort of the closest thing to an award show. But then rather than just celebrating a TV show that you may have liked or loved or not really cared about for much of the past 50 years, they decided to very overtly do a screw you to half the country. Tom Hanks was involved in a skit where he just mocked MAGA voters. And I couldn't help but think, why?
You know what it reminded me of? I used to do a lot of stories on domestic violence, and I got to know a lot about how it works. And it reminded me of an abuser who goes back to a woman and puts on the mask. I'm charming. I'm totally loving. I will never hurt you. You can trust me. I get you. We're together. We're a partnership. But then as soon as the woman does something, that could be anything, to set him off, the veil comes down and you realize this has been someone pretending. This whole thing that's been wooing me in has been an act. And oh my God, I was almost fooled. You know, thank God I saw the moment of reality. That's what that thing was to me, because Saturday Night Live hates conservatives. NBC hates conservatives. They've been doing programming that is anti-conservative, anti-Trump, pro-leftist causes in the open now for 12 years and beyond. I mean, I haven't really watched it with a political eye longer than that. And that on Sunday night, they tried to reel us in by just doing regular comedy that could appeal to anybody. Like, see, we're so fun. We've got all these big stars. So we're towing the line and we're going to make everybody love us and you can trust us. We're not going to be too political. We're going to be the kind of product that everyone can consume. And then the veil slipped. And it slipped because that's who they really are. And no one there thought there'd be a problem with that skit with Tom Hanks. No one said, oh God, is this beyond? Like, should we not? Because it's all the same left-wing echo chamber. So they decided to take one of the most beloved, most popular American actors ever, Tom Hanks, and put him in a Trump MAGA hat and put him down at the end on what they called Black Jeopardy, which is kind of like a joke that Black people don't watch normal Jeopardy. And so it's kind of like white Jeopardy. And he comes on Black Jeopardy, and the Black host comes over to shake his hand, and he recoils at the thought of touching a Black man and doesn't want to shake the hand, and only does it when he's forced to by the very gracious Black host.
Well, thank you. Hey, now speaking of church, can I say something? If more folks went to church, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
You know what? I agree with you, Doug. I'd like to shake your hand, sir. Here we go.
No,
Oh, no.
Like that.
Oh, no. It's just a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You're welcome in Black Jeopardy anytime.
Oh, well, all right. Well, thank you.
The veil was down, and we saw what they really think of all of us, not just MAGA, but anybody on the right. They think you're a racist. They think you're all the ists for all sorts of psychological reasons that we've gone into and don't need to here. But there was that piece of it. And then there was how deeply offensive it was for Tom Hanks in particular to participate in this skit. Tom Hanks, who started off on this stupid show called Bosom Buddies, which, I mean, maybe it was ahead of its time because it was about two men who dressed as women in order to get the living arrangements they wanted. So it was guys dressed, in sort of in drag. And he was hilarious, and he was a nobody. And it was a stupid show that made us fall in love with him because he was so funny and bumbling. And then parlayed that into a film career with great films like Sleepless in Seattle, where he was a romantic lead, and Big, where he was a kid in an adult's body, and Philadelphia, where he was a big-time lawyer suffering from HIV/AIDS. Like all these amazing, Forrest Gump, which was seen around the world, and everyone said the same thing. I love Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks. And in thanks to a nation, of audiences that included those guys who look like that, with the t-shirt, without the sleeves, that are maybe a little rough around the edges, who aren't as coiffed as he is with the perfect 3/4 zip, sweater, with their MAGA hat on. And yeah, Tom Hanks, their Southern rural accent, you absolute effing snob, went to your movies and made you a billionaire. And your thanks to them is to mock and belittle them in the 2 minutes you had to portray what they might be like. Shame on you.
Now, did you see the stuff of Kamala Harris? She's just wandering around a stage, I think a Broadway play. Let's be honest. I was respectful when she was the vice president-ish, but now she's just a free agent. She was pissed. She was drunk because I know she's, not the brightest bulb, but she was off it when she's talking to people.
And it doesn't mean we don't see the beauty in everything, right? These things all coexist. But I believe we fight for something, not against something. Right. And that's our optimism, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
All right, let's go, Paul Murray. Let's do this thing. Disagree. That's her. That's her personality. She always sounds drunk. She's an idiot. That's the way she talks. She says absolutely nothing. She tries to make it sound really profound. She's got a weird way of talking. She sounds drunk a lot. It's just reality and duality, and it's just like somebody hates a vacuum. Take care. That's who she is. So no, I don't think any alcohol was involved. I think it's her.